Welcome back to Extravagant Fragrances, everybody. So, just an update on the bottle market. The unscented incense stick market. Really, anything coming from China market. So, the other day, I actually reached out to my supplier, and I mean, this guy, he moves a lot of, we'll just say he moves a lot of merchandise. He orders about something like 4,000 cases of bottles per month, something like that. Sticks, I'm not sure how many sticks he orders. However, there's a big problem with China right now with their freight costs. So you could call it the pricing with China, you can call it inflation, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's there. So it used to be, he says something like he used to pay like $8,000 freight for one shipping container coming from China. Now he's paying $35,000. So that trickles down. That trickles down to the consumer. And so I actually talked to a fellow vendor yesterday. He told me the same exact thing. That bottles were going up. And so that you know, I think that's enough to make you start thinking. For me, it's making me kind of thinking outside. It's making me think outside the box. Because it's like, how much longer does that go? Because I remember my cost, I was paying like just, I would say about a year ago, I was paying half of what I'm paying now. Half. Then it crept up. And then now it's more, it's like more than, or I would say double what I was paying before for a case of bottles. And so it makes you think, you know, I have a connection here in the States. It's a bottle company from Italy, and their bottles are more expensive. However, they do custom bottles, right? They do you know, like, just the quality of their bottles is just way better than the ones from China. So I am looking at them. You know, I think their prices are more expensive than the bottles coming from China. However, like, for example, like, the bottle quality is just more polished. It's just a way more polished bottle, right? The caps that go on these, like, let's say the 1/3 roll-ons, for example, it's a different material. It's like a hard material. Like, let's say if you were to drop it, it would make like a clinging sound, versus the plastic. I know, I mean, some people don't care. They're like, whatever, I'm just trying to make some money. However, I think it's, I don't think it's such a good thing being so dependent on China for the, you know, our supplies. You know, so it's starting to make me think, like, man, like, how can we get like a bottle making machine here in the US? How can we get someone making sticks here in the US? I mean, like, we have like trees everywhere, right? You know, if you live on the East Coast like me, it's like, you go on Craigslist, you see people are like posting stuff in the free section, say, hey, please come get this chopped down tree, it's free, it's already cut down, right? So there's wood everywhere. Okay, and so I talked to my supplier. He's like, yeah, the only problem though is like the incense sticks, the bamboo, it comes from China. So love the incense sticks, they're great quality. However, it's just like, how long is this going to go on, right? So I do believe that a lot of manufacturing, I would love to see it come back stateside, you know, because becoming dependent, like, when it comes down to our supplies, the marketplace, becoming dependent on another country, you don't have the best relationship with, it's not a good thing, not a good look. You know, I know it sounds crazy, but I've even been thinking like, well, what did they do in the past? Like, what did people do way back in the day? You know, what did a perfume seller put their perfume in back in the day? I think I have a picture I found somewhere online. I may have posted it. It was a picture of a bottle from the Roman times. Now, granted, I mean, it was pretty fancy. It was like it looked like an expensive bottle. Like the bottle was like made of gold or something. I don't know. Maybe it was brass, but it had like little designs on it. There was metal on the outside. You know, I would like to see like, what would be nice is if there could be some kind of system where we can make, let's say, a machine that can take and I'm just throwing these ideas out there. I mean, you guys may have ideas way better than mine, but look at pots, for example. Look at clay pots. It comes from the earth, right? What's to say that we can't get a machine that can dig clay out of the earth and mass produce bottles with hard clay and make it look like really professional with the what do you call it, the threading and everything, right, for the cap to go on, right? They have homes now that are being made out of rammed earth, because as you all can see, the price of lumber went up tremendously. If you're not paying attention to the marketplace, you should be, because all of it at some point begins to affect our sector, right? So when I was having my downtime during recovery back in April, I hadn't gone into Home Depot or Lowe's for a long time. Actually, I don't go to Home Depot. I go to Lowe's most of the time. And it's been some time since I've done any kind of woodwork, because I like to work with wood. I like to build stuff when I have the time. And so, for example, like, I went in looking for some 2x4s in Lowe's, and I remember 2x4s used to cost, I think it was like $1.98 for a 6 foot, I think it was 6 foot 2x4. And now, if you go into Lowe's, 2x4s have more than tripled in price. I think there's something like $8 for a 2x4. Right, plywood is very expensive. So, so you have people now. Their building materials are starting to change with homes. We're seeing, you know, like, people are moving into the rammed earth, right, where they're taking the earth and they're basically pounding it in to make a really solid wall, right? And these homes are like, they're actually coming out looking really nice. You know what I mean? So it's like, earth is in abundance, right? Clay, it's in abundance. It's just, how do you get it broken down? How do you get it broken down and refined to the point where you can actually, let's say, make a roll-on bottle or some kind of other fancy type of bottle, something thinking outside the box. I don't know. I'm just here to try to plant the seed. Maybe there's somebody who has a way better, like I said, a way better idea than mine. But I would love to see that. I would love to see most of our supplies in this particular industry, and all industries as well, to come back here to begin being done here in the United States, where we're not so dependent on other countries who we don't have good relationships with. I mean, to me, it's common sense. So, yeah, so that's what's going on right now. Sticks are going up. My supplier, he's not even making any money off of me. Like, he's like, the reason why he was avoiding my calls is he's like, I feel ashamed to tell you what the new price is. And his price is going up more than what I was buying it off of him for. So he's like, you're basically, he's like, my cost is your cost. Right? I'm sure he'll probably make something off of the bottles, but you know, I'm gonna say this: the people that are gonna suffer the most are going to be the guys that don't want to pay you. You know who they are. You know the hagglers, right? The guys that when you say wholesale to them, they think it means free, right? I think they're going to suffer the most. Because they'll probably go looking for like some super cheap product, and that's what they're going to get, and it's going to be inferior quality, and they're going to end up losing money. I've seen this happen so many times. But in the meantime, however, I think the plan of action really is to readjust. If you're selling wholesale, for example, right now, maybe it might be a good idea to do like semi-wholesale, right? So let's say, for example, if you were selling a whole case, you might want to break it down to selling it by the half case, and if you were selling, a gross, you might want to break it down into selling half a gross, right? Or if you were selling half a gross, you might want to break it down into selling your bottles by the dozens, right? Same thing with sticks. Now, oil, fragrance, I have not seen a spike in fragrance. And even if there was a spike in fragrance is such a blessed thing. As we know about the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he put his stamp of approval on fragrance, right, on perfume. So there's so many different ways you could sell it, and I've never seen fragrance not profitable. So so far fragrance is very stable, but right now I think there needs to be some innovation in the marketplace regarding containers, bottles, mass-produced things that are coming from China. It would be nice to see these things produced, even I would say on a micro scale. Because unfortunately, when you do things on a massive scale, on a corporate scale, sometimes those kind of things tend to get monopolized, where it ends up in the hands of only a few. Whereas if manufacturing can be done on, let's say, a micro scale. So for example, if you have an oil seller, a fragrance seller who has like a little small shop, this is a small mom and pop business, let's say a machine that is big enough to fit any establishment, right? Your customer comes in and there's a bottle making machine in the back somewhere, right? Breaking down, materials, making bottles. Like right here in Pittsburgh, for example, where I'm at, there are glass factories. It's mostly custom glass, but I think when there is a demand in the marketplace, people will respond when they see that there's demand. And that's the good thing about the U.S. is that we've always had innovation. We've always been good with inventions, right? And persevering during hard economic times. History proves that. So that's just my take on the marketplace today. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, share, everybody. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them down in the comment section. Until then, take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.